Hi everyone, this is BB Licious and I'm going to show you how to create a Wix bulletin. If you have any deco experience or other bulletin experience, then you know that you know how to work in layers. Well, this is how you put together a Wix bulletin. You work in layers as well. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is go to wix.com, wix.com. Click on create a new site, and always go down here to other, create website with the editor, choose a template. Now they give you some options, but I don't mess with none of this stuff because it just creates more work. So I go to blank templates. Again, you have choices. These are blank, but they have different layouts, and if you want to mess with all this, that's up to you. But I prefer a blank slate so I can do what I want. So I start from scratch and click on edit. Now I'm going to be building a bulletin today for a client who came to me. I've already made their bulletin, but I'm going to rebuild it from scratch just to show you how it's done. Now, if you don't have the time to build the bulletin, don't get started because they take at least an hour. More time, if you haven't done your texture search beforehand. Preparation is important. If you have an idea of what you're doing, the idea that that you want to create, then get your textures prepared ahead of time, so that you can just come in here and put it together. Okay. First thing I always do is change the color of the background. So left click, change page background color, and I choose black. I always use a black background because to me black is more forgiving. Sometimes when you use a texture from online, like a GIF or something, it has a black background, or other pictures or whatever. So and to me it looks more polished and more professional, so I always go with black. Now it's up to you what you want to do, but this is just my preference. Okay, so bulletins in RLC have a width of 750 pixels. If you go outside of that number, your bulletin is going to be cut off on the right side. This space right here is our building space. This is the header. This is the footer, and this is the body of it, and this is where we're going to be building our bulletin. However, this is bigger than 750, so we need to cut the space down so we know where to do our work. So click on plus for add, go to box, and I'm just going to drag and drop this blue one right here because some of these boxes have got edges that you have to worry about changing the color on and stuff, and this one's pretty simple, no edges to change. So now I'm going to drag it all the way up here to the top, and you see the purple line or pink line, it is snapping to the left border, and you definitely want to do that. So just drop it. Now I always push this up into the header because I'll use the header, but I don't use the footer. I usually just get rid of that, and I'll show you how in just a little bit. Okay, so first thing is we need to make the box 750 pixels wide. Your toolbox is right over here. You can drag it around. Just grab it by the dots up here. Put 750 for width, and I always start with 2000 for the height. Gives me plenty of room to build. See that? Okay. If you don't have your toolbox, you can click up here on the tools option and just check toolbar. It'll bring it up. Okay, so I do not want my box to be blue, and you can keep it blue if you wanna, but it's going to interfere with what I want to do, so I want to change the color of it. So you can click on change design or the design tool right here, customize design, and right here you can see the field color. It's blue. Just grab this slider and drag it all the way to the left, and it makes it transparent. Okay, so what you're left with is this box right here, and you see the border right here and right here. Now this is 750 pixels wide. So this is going to be our building space for the bulletin. Anything that goes over this line out here in no man's land is going to be cut off when you go to post it. And you don't want that. Now, if you're just building a bulletin, like a site for someone to click on a sign and get information or something like that, you don't have to do all this. You can use the whole space because they're going to be opening it on a web browser and not seeing it in bulletins. Okay? So this is just for bulletins. Okay. So the first thing I want to do is grab my textures. So click on add. I'm going to add an image. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a folder. Now this is for FTMC for one of their events. So click on folder for add a folder, and I'm going to name it. I've already got one named FTMC because I've already built this, but this is just to show you. Alright, so I've named the folder, and now what I want to do, and this is important, this little ribbon right here, add to favorites, click that. Make sure it's added to favorites, because I've noticed that sometimes when you go to edit a bulletin, like if you need to go back and edit the bulletin you made, the folder with your textures does not come up. If you add it to your favorites board, it will come up. It's a crapshoot if you don't add it to favorites. It might come up, it might not. So I always add it to favorites so that it comes up easily and I don't have to worry about it. Okay, so I'm going to double click this and it opens up the folder. See, we're in this folder. Now I'm going to upload my textures. Okay, so like I said, I've already gathered some textures, and the other thing is, for bulletins, I always keep your stuff organized. If you are going to be making bulletins, if you think you're going to be making more than one or two, then you definitely need some organization. So on my extended hard drive, I have a folder for bulletins because I do a lot of them. And inside the folder for bulletins, I have a folder for every client. That way I can keep all my textures in one folder for them. Okay, so like if I were to open up this one, then I've got all my textures for that there. It keeps it organized. Okay, now I didn't start out that way, and this is what happens if you don't organize. You got all this crap. I need to go back and organize that. But see all this crap down here? Alright, so you don't want that. So keep it organized. Okay, so I'm clicking on my folder for FTMC, and I've already prepared my textures, so I know exactly what I'm getting. So I'm going to upload more than one texture at a time. So I'm going to hold down the control key on my keyboard and click each one that I want to use. Having to remember which ones. Okay. Okay, so these are uploaded. We can X out of this box. Do you see this one right here highlighted? When you click on add to page, it's going to add whichever one is highlighted. So I don't want that one just yet. I want my background. So I'm going to choose this one. Okay, so my background is here now. I just need to make it fit the box. So I'm going to pull this corner, excuse me. I have kind of a sore throat today. I hope I'm not getting sick, but so excuse the throat clearing and water drinking and all that good stuff. Okay, so I've got it fitted to the workspace. Now I need to stretch it further down, but there's no way to do it, so I've got to create the option for myself. So right here in settings, the little gear, click on that, scroll all the way down where it says image resize and keep proportions, uncheck that, and it creates this little dot right here on the bottom, in the middle, and also on the sides. So I'm just going to grab that and just pull it down. Now I don't want to stretch it too far. But I want it to be far enough, and I can adjust it later if I need to. Okay, so I pulled, usually I start this from the very top like this, but since my background is brick and concrete, and if I pull it too far down as far as I really need it, it's going to get stretched and it's not going to look right. See? It doesn't look right. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it back up. I can't see good sometimes, so I make my browser window bigger, so I just moved it back some. Okay, so I'm going to pull this down some. Since you see up here at the top of the texture, it's getting dark. So this is eventually going to fade into blackness, and I'll show you why. Because I'm going to add a filter to this. I like this background, but to me it needs to be darker. So I'm going to use the filters on this, and if you click right here, this is filters. And you can just kind of go down the list until you see what you want. Gives you different colors and options and stuff. I like this one because I want it dark, so that the writing will show up good and everything. Because we don't really need to put focus on the background. It just needs to be what it is, a background. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to build the rest of it. So click on plus, click on my image uploads, double click the folder. Okay, so I'm going to start with this. So I want it to be up at the top, and I want it to be centered as well. And Wix will show you when it's centered, because when you move it, it'll show that pink or purple line, and that'll show you where your center is. And for other textures too, when you're lining them up, watch. You see how it centers up everything. So that's how you can make sure everything is even on your bulletin. Okay, so this is not quite as big as I want it to be, so I'm going to stretch it out and then center it. I don't want it to be exactly right up against the edge of the top of the bulletin. I want to bring it down a little bit. Just make sure you leave enough space up there. Also, this is overlapping the top of my background, and I don't want it to, so I'm going to pull it down. So you see, with the filter, this got darker, of course, and it kind of faded into black up here. Okay, so more textures. I need the rest of my textures. Okay, so I'm going to bring in, and I'm going to hold down the control key on my keyboard, and I'm going to click on the biker and the biker chick. You see both of them are highlighted. And then release control button, and then I'm going to add to page, and it's going to bring both of them. So I'm going to move her out to the side here for a minute. And this dude right here, I'm bringing him down to the corner. I want him to be in your face, but not too, like I don't want him to be like the focus. Well, he kind of is, since he's in the foreground. But, alright, so, and I want her to go behind him. Okay, so you see the bike is in front of him, like on his arm. I don't want it to be like that. So we need to move this backwards. We need to layer her behind him. So I'm left clicking, okay, right clicking on the bike image, and where it says overlapping items, see, this is the bike image right here, and this is the background image. This is the container box. The container box is the square, not square, the box that we created to do our work in. So you definitely don't want to mess with that. Okay, so I'm going to arrange, and I want to move her backwards just until the bike goes behind him. Working with the layers. Okay, so that's done. Now, I do recommend, and there will be a pop-up happening every now and again, that you save your work as you go. Right up here, save. Just click on save, and then you're going to type in the name of your bulletin. I've already got one called FTMC, so I'm going to name it FTMC1. Make sure that all of your letters are lowercase because it doesn't like taking the capitals, and you're limited to a certain amount of characters, so make it as brief as you can. Okay, then click on save and continue. Now, if you want to see your work so far, you can click on publish now, view site, and we can see what we've already done. Okay. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, see, that's one of the pop-ups. They have a couple that come up. Okay, so now that I've got my graphics on here, I want to add my text. This is too far away. I'm going to move this up some. Which means I need to move him and her. Okay. So next thing I want to do is I want to add my text. So click on add and click on text. And I usually just grab this one and drag it and drop it right over here. Double click on it. First thing I do is change the color to something I can actually see. And then change the font. They give you a bunch of fonts you can choose from. You can change the size by sliding it right here. Bold, italics, underline, the color, and this is the color, all the space around it, like that. See how it kind of puts it in a block? Okay, but I don't want that, so I'm unchecking that. And then you can put a link right here too. This is alignment, this is bullets, paragraph stuff. I don't use that stuff. Effects, you can kind of play with that. Character and line spacing, all that. Okay. So I don't want that. Take it away. Just delete it and get another one. Where did my flipping text go? Okay. So I always center my text. Whoops. Center, because I just like it better centered. I like everything to be centered. Okay, so for this I want to download a font. I don't want to use one that's given that's provided by Wix, because I don't like, I mean, they've got some great stuff, but I want to use something more bikerish for this. So I'm going to go look for a font. Okay. Free biker font. Okay, so basically you just spend some time looking to see what font you want. So I chose this one, Rebel Bones, and another one, and I've already got them downloaded, but there's another one I like that I'm not going to use on this project, but I do like it, and so I'm going to download it, but I'm going to use the other one. But I'm just going to show you how to download it and put it into Wix, import it. Alright, so this one, it's for personal use, free, so I'm going to download it. And I want to save it. Now I use GIMP to work with my textures, so I'm going to save it in my GIMP folder because I want to be able to add it not only to Wix but also to GIMP. So I'm going to put it all in one space. Now for your computer, I don't know where the folder is going to be located for you to save it to. You can always just create a folder for fonts. I can't think of the word. You can make a folder for fonts and you can work from there, but I save mine in GIMP. So for me, I'm going to my PC under users, GIMP, and then I have a folder for fonts. Okay, now this is going to be a zip file and you'll have to extract it. So I'm going to save it. And then I'm going to open my files and I'm going to the same place that I just downloaded the folder. GIMP fonts. Okay. So it will be the zip file will be down at the bottom, Boots and Spurs, and I'm going to right click on that and I'm going to extract all, and it's showing me where it's saving it. Extract. Okay, so now I need to scroll up and find, and there it is, Boots and Spurs. So I'm going to go back here and I'm going to right click on this and delete it. We've already unzipped it so we can get rid of the zip file. Okay, so Boots and Spurs is right there. So I'm going to close this and this and this. And alright, going back to the text, so I'm going to double click on that and I'm going to go to font, and down here at the bottom it says upload fonts. So click on that, click on upload fonts, and I need to go back to where I saved my font, GIMP fonts and Boots and Spurs. So click on that. Okay, so it's going to have, some folders are only going to have the font, some folders will have other information, other files. So the ones that you want to download are the TTF or the OTF, one type font or something like that, and then true type font. So these are the ones you want to download. And sometimes the fonts will come with like 2 or 3 or more different styles. So okay, so I'm just going to click on that and it's going to upload it. Just got to give it a minute. And it tells you right here what you can upload. Okay, so Boots and Spurs has been uploaded. Done. Okay, I still need to choose the font for what I'm going to use here. So I'm not actually going to use Boots and Spurs. I'm going to use Rebel Bones, which I had already downloaded. So I'm going back up to the ones that I downloaded. and choose Rebel Bones. Okay. Excuse me again. My body makes weird noises, especially when I drink water. Okay. So there's my my heading. I think I want to make that bold. I want to make it thicker. Okay. I'm going to pull out the size of the text box so I can, excuse me, so I can get as much text as possible in the one box without it going down to the next line, because we're going to need all this space to put our information. Okay, so okay, it doesn't want to type. Okay, so I need to put Full Throttle Saloon Presents, but I don't have enough space, so I'm going to highlight this, and I'm going to pull down the font size slider so it makes the font smaller, so I have some more room. Presents. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to pull this up to right up under the banner. I'm going to move this up a little bit more. Okay, so now I want to do, I think I want to go ahead and put the URL on here. Okay, so the URL is going to be in smaller font, and let me grab it right quick. Here we go. Okay, so I'm just going to paste my URL there. And about URLs, you want to use a font that is plain. Well, I like to use one that is plain because to me it makes it stick out a little bit more, and people can copy the URL right off the bulletin if you do it right. So I'm going to always use this one, Times New Roman, for the URL. So it's in smaller font, and I usually put it on the bulletin twice. I put it up at the top and then again down at the bottom. Why is it not centering? Okay, well, maybe it's because it's the same length as the box right up above it. So, okay, so we'll just leave it right there. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate the first line and pull it down. And the name of the event is Bikers and Bitches Rock Out. Okay, so I want to make that a little bit bigger. Okay, the fonts right here, they look a little too close in size, so I'm going to make this one a little bit smaller just to offset it, which will allow me to bring this up a little higher, giving me more room to work with on the bulletin. Okay, Bikers and Bitches Rock Out. Alright, so now I want to list the information. I'm going to put this in a smaller font, and this is going to be January 19th at 8 p.m. Eastern. So What day is that on? Tuesday. Tuesday, January 19th. Hold on, I'm thinking. I'm thinking as to how I want to put it, how I want to lay it out. If I want to make it bigger or smaller. Okay, for right now, I'm just gonna. Okay, I changed my mind. Let me do this. Let me get the logos on here first. We need a DJ logo and we need a hostess logo. Making the bulletins does not move this fast always. Like I said, I already had my stuff prepared. And and I already put it together, so I already knew what I was going to do. Oh, I'm in the wrong folder. Duh. So if you have everything set up, it could go, ahead of time. It could go this fast, but for the most part, it won't. I usually spend anywhere from an hour and a half to, I've spent 3 hours making a bulletin before. So it takes a while. It's not a quickie. Okay, so we need to grab the DJ and then the hostess. There we go. Okay, so I want to highlight both of these to add them to the page. So I'm going to move this one over to the side for now. And this is way too big. So now okay, so there's two ways that you can add stuff on here. Do it just like this, and then you can manually do the second one and fool with the sizing and everything and try to get it all lined up. Or see, that's going to be a pain. Or just upload one of them and duplicate this one, so you know it's the exact same size. Just center them. There's the same amount of space here as there is here, or close to it. So they're centered. And now just click on this one, change the image, click on the image you want it to be. Ta-da! That's the easiest way to do it. Okay, so we got that info on there. Now if you've got more than one DJ, more than one hostess, you got multiple dance teams, you'd be better off adding a gallery. So you want to click on the plus to add, click on gallery, and there's a bunch of them that you can choose from, but the one that I like to use the most is the slider galleries. I always use the first one. So you can click on it, or you can drag it and drop it. And I'm not going to use a gallery on this one, but this is just to demo, to show you what you can do with it. Okay, so just size it however you want it. Click on change images. First thing you need to do is delete all this shit right here. Okay, and then add images. Double click on the file, upload, and let's just say we're going to have 3 dance teams. Okay, so let me find a dance team. Okay, let's just say ice cream pandas and Wicked Bad Boys and I don't know why I'm picking and choosing. Anyone will do. Okay, Sex Pixels. Okay, so we've got our dance teams uploaded. So I'm going to hold down my control key and I'm going to highlight each one of them and click on add to gallery, and it adds them, and you can drag them around and put them in whatever order you want. And then if you need to add more, you can click here, and you can add text and stuff here, but I never fool with that. Links, if you add a link, people will be able to click on the bulletin, on the dance team, on the actual bulletin, and you can put like the owner or manager's profile link right here, and it'll go straight to them. If you want to do that, you know, for here you could put contact, owner's name or manager's name or whatever. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff you can do, but I don't fool with any of that unless I'm doing something like a sponsor bulletin, like thank you to sponsors. I'll add their information so people can click on the sponsors, or if I'm doing some kind of project like that, then I'll use that, but otherwise I don't. I'll just click on done. Okay, so the images are there, but these are not sized right, so we need to fix that. So click on the gear for settings. I don't use the navigation arrows, so I want to turn those off. I don't want a play button. I do want it to autoplay when it loads. I always change this to 3. When they're resized, we want them to fit, so click on fit. It automatically makes them fit. And then I go down here to how long do they last. I change that to 3. And then I'm done. Okay, so you see this gray area on the side here? I don't want that either. So I need to fix that. So click on the design tool, go to customize, fill, color, and opacity, drag this down to 0, go to the next one. Oops, yeah. Drag that down to 0. You see what it did there? Made that transparent. The rest of them, if there's anything. Okay. Now, and you can preview. Yep, now it's sliding, and you can see how it works, how it looks. Looks good, huh? Okay, so we want to go back to the editor, and we're not going to use this on this bulletin, so I'm just going to delete that. But I did want to show you how it works. Okay, so now I want to add a little extra something to this bulletin. I want to put a shadow behind these signs, like a drop shadow. So I'm going to add image. Now this is something that I have made, that I use in Deco and stuff. You can make your own, or you can not use them, or do whatever. This is just something I like to add. Oh, I don't think it is dark enough. Let me get the other one. And this one I want to get rid of, so click on the dots, move to trash. Okay, so this one I want to add to the page. So I need to keep proportions. Okay, so I want to move it over here, and I'm gonna when you're making a drop shadow, you want to offset it according to the picture. See, I brought it down some and over to the right, and it's sticking out on the right side and down at the bottom to create a shadow. The other issue I have is that it's on top of the logo and I want it behind it. So I'm going to right click on that, and I'm going to click on move backward until it's behind the picture. Okay, the shadow's not coming out far enough to the right, so I'm just going to pull this there. Now I'm going to duplicate the shadow, and I'm going to drag it over here to the other one. See how it centers it? Okay, so I need to move this one backwards. Okay. Too far. Okay, so it kind of creates a shadow. And see, the bike has a shadow too. So, and it's dark, so we need shadows. Okay, so now we need to put the rest of the information on there. Let's use this one. Tuesday, January 19th. $8 p.m. till the tap runs dry. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate this URL and I'm going to drag it down. I'm going to put it down here at the bottom too. Like I said before, I usually try to put it on here twice, at the top and also at the bottom. Okay, so honey on purple with, this is going to go over his head because I need to make a second line, so I'm going to make it smaller. I saw him move. What happened? Okay. Sometimes when you adjust the text, it'll push down on the pictures below, so you just need to make sure to check and make sure nothing's out of place. Okay, and now and sometimes I like to add stuff. I'm going to put this on his jacket. On his cut, I mean. Somebody's probably saying, jacket? What the? Okay, quit acting stupid. Okay, if it gets stuck like this where it doesn't want to act right, just go up here to preview and then back to editor and it'll straighten up. Then it'll act right. Okay, so you see this little thingy right here? You can rotate. Oh, seriously? I don't know why it wants to do this. There we go. Okay. Alright, so let's see. There's still a little bit of room right here where you can add something, but you don't have to. And then down here you just put the repost code, and I use ones from bulletins I've already made, and if you need one, I'll be glad to give you a blank one. Just ask me for it. I'll have to give it to you in Word or on Skype because it does not pass well in email. Also, if you want to add music to this, you can add music players, which I'm not adding music to this one. Video music, audio players. You can use these, but the trouble I have with these is that they don't autoplay, and they're not small enough for my taste. So they used to offer a one that was really small and was fairly unobtrusive, and you could color it and everything. And they don't have that anymore. Not for the free Wix. I don't know what they offer with a paid subscription, but so I had saved one of those bulletins and copied it and then reused it over and over. So I do have one of those, if a blank copy of that. If you prefer to have that, let me know. I'll need your email address that you used to sign up for on Wix, and I can mail it to you as the owner. I can make you the owner, and so then you'll have it, and you can copy that and reuse it with the music player. Okay, I don't know if any of that made sense. Alright, so I'm going to duplicate the URL because I want to make my repost code in that same kind of font. I don't want anything fancy because I want it to be easy to read and easy to copy. So my header goes here. No, too much. Okay, so that's my header. I'm going to copy this because I need to make sure this is going to fit in the bulletins. So, yeah, see, too much. It cuts it off at join. So, I'm going to change it to just join us. Okay, so I'm going to copy that and then cancel the bulletin, go back to Wix, paste that. Okay, and I want it to come in some also. I don't want the thing to go all the way across. Okay, so here's my repost code. So I need to change the link, and I'm also going to need to change the height. The width is always going to stay the same as 750, but I need to figure out what the height is, and I'm fixing to show you how to do that. But first I want to show you how to change the link. Okay. Well, no. Let's go ahead and change the height. I changed my mind. So I have all this blank space down here that I don't need, and so I need to get rid of that. So I'm going to grab the little dot right here, and I'm going to pull it up. You only need about that much room at the bottom. Now the footer right here, I want to get rid of that. So I'm going to grab this little arrow down here. I'm just going to drag it upwards, and it got rid of the footer. So now we need to figure out how tall this bulletin is. Alright, so I'm going to click on the container box, which is the original box that we started with, that we built this entire bulletin in. Click on this, and then it's going to show me right here how long it is. It's 1867. Okay, even though I got rid of the footer, I need to add 50 pixels to the final size to come up with a sum. So 1860 plus 50 is what, 1930 plus 7. So round it off, let's just say 1935. So we're going to change this 1935. I suck at math, so I hope that's right because I did it in my head. Okay, so now we need to save and then publish. You always want to publish. If you do not publish, nobody is going to see your bulletin. When they click on it, it's going to come up and says, sorry, this can't be found. Publish, publish, publish. If you edit it, save, and publish, you always have to publish it. Okay, and then click on View Site. And then I'm going to copy the URL, and while I'm here, I'm going to look and make sure everything looks okay. Go back to the bulletin, and I'm going to click on the repost code, and I'm going to highlight the link. Now the link is in between the two quotation marks. Do not delete the quotation marks, and the link has to go in between the quotation marks. So I'm going to paste it. Okay, so it's there. And also, if you see this link is underlined, well, I'm going to highlight it again and go over here to link, and I'm going to click on web address and paste the link of the bulletin right there. Now, the reason why I'm doing that is because you may have noticed a while back there was a semicolon or colon, whatever it's called, showing up on the repost code of the bulletins. I've figured out that if you add a link to the link, it doesn't do that. So make sure you link the link that's inside the repost code. Okay, so now we're ready to save it again, publish it again, view the site, and you have to refresh it again to see the changes. So now I need to test it to see if it's going to fit. Now I don't post this in bulletins, so I copy the repost code. I go to my inbox, click on compose, paste the bulletin there, mail it to myself, send, check my mail, open it up. Now, if you are looking at everything in a threaded view like I am, like it keeps a thread, and you've got music playing on it, you want to go down to the bottom of the second one and turn your music off. Because if you don't, you'll be hearing it twice, and one plays right behind the other. Okay, so this looks pretty good. I need to fix that right there. That's too far over. Would help if I saw the whole bulletin, huh? So I need to fix the shadow on that logo. There's a little bit too much space down here. Okay. So I need to move the shadow over, and then okay, and then okay, so 1851 plus 50, let's put it at 1900. Save, publish, okay, so I'm going to copy the new code. If you make any changes lengthwise, like if the length of your container box changes, you have to change your code, because if you don't change your code, it's going to be cut off or too long. It's going to be wonky. You don't want that. Okay, mailing it to myself again so I can check it out once again. Looking for mistakes or something that needs to be fixed. Okay, that looks better. And if you click that link, it takes you to the bulletin. Okay, so we're good. So this bulletin is done. Now there's other stuff you can do. You can, to make a bulletin, you can import stuff, like if you want to add neon or other stuff, you can download textures, import them as an image, and use them for borders or separators or whatever. There's all kinds of stuff you can do. And you can download fonts. You can just do all kinds of stuff. You can add GIFs, GIF files, the animated stuff. Make sure you use one that has a translucent background, unless it has, like if you're going with a black background like me, you can use a GIF that has a black background. It'll blend right in, and you can put stuff over the black part, and you can layer stuff over the black part, and it'll still work. So there's lots of possibilities with the Wix Bulletin, and that's that. Alright, let me see if I can stop this video now. Alright, so that's a tutorial on how to make a Wix Bulletin. That's pretty basic. As far as the fancy stuff, you can experiment and figure it out from there, but this will get you started. I hope it helps. Take care.